With the top 4 teams of MSI being locked in, being Royal Never Give Up, Flash Wolves, Kingzone, and Fnatic, I'm going to go over each team's biggest weakness and how that can get exploited. Gonna start with the team with the lowest record and go up, and this is Fnatic. And they have the most weaknesses, hence why they were 4th. They have some obvious draft issues, aka picking scaling ADCs that lose lane too hard. So, whereas they're picking Sivir, who takes too long to scale up and has a weak laning phase, where they could pick something like Caitlyn, with Caps being their biggest strength by far this tournament, and Reckless underperforming to what people would think from the EU LCS MVP, it actually pigeonholes their drafts quite a bit. Putting Caps on something like Galio or Karma seems like a massive waste of a win condition, which is Caps outplaying the enemy mid laner. And this was actually used against SKT Lost Worlds when Faker got Galio 5 games in a row versus RNG. They did win that series, but you could definitely see how the team's biggest strength was being made to play this pick that is strong, but doesn't have that massive outplay potential you need to come from your star player. This combined with Reckless staying away from picks like Kai'Sa and Kog'Maw, the Rageblade ADCs, means that they are a massive disadvantage before the game's even started. But by far their biggest weakness in their actual gameplay is they give up too much too early. When they have no bot pressure, they often give up first tower very early to avoid getting dove under their first tower and losing first tower with it. This is a standard thing you'll see around the world, that you don't want to go down 2 kills and lose first tower. But Fnatic seem to just give it up too early. I think the best example of this is against Liquid, where I believe their tower is probably at 25-30%, and they're getting shoved in. As soon as they saw Xmithy, they just left and sacked that, which then allowed Liquid to just snowball the whole game by just taking every tower, because Fnatic couldn't contest because they didn't try and defend this one tower. And Bwipo had TP up, and he could have TP'd and tried to defend it, or they could have backed 30 seconds earlier and swapped to top like they've done quite a few times in the EU LCS and traded. You might not get the first tower gold, but you are getting something. Whereas this, they just bled resources until they lost the game. And I think they can solve this problem by either picking a winning bot lane like they did in their final game versus Liquid with the Xayah Rakan, or be prepared to swap to top lane with your bot lane, or defend the dive, because just giving up an early lead to RNG, they'll just get rolled over. The 3rd seed team is Kingzone, and coming into this tournament as favourites, I really didn't think I'd have much to say about their weaknesses. But honestly, they've been pretty shaky, and one of their biggest weaknesses was meant to be arguably their biggest strength, and that was Khan. Having this triple threat team and having Khan being considerably better than the other top laners in the tournament, he's just not performed. With the 2nd highest deaths, a pretty poor KDA and the lowest kill participations, this is when compared to the other top laners, it's not hard to see why people are saying he's underperforming. With there only being a few days before the semi-final, it's not certain it will get fixed and he'll step up his play, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back to the Khan that was dominating the LCK. Okay, next up is Flash Wolves, and with such a strong start to MSI, it took everyone by surprise based on their past recent international performances, and they had a dominating start going 6-0, but then on a massive downward trend with 1-4 in their last 5 games. Their main problem is closing out games. They were smart and calculated at the start. They took good solid barons and set up around them. But as the tournament's gone on, if they don't smash their opponents so hard and ride that sort of gold lead wave to the win, they can struggle. This was shown against Fnatic with the 2 baron steals, which just shouldn't have happened. And the Team Liquid game where they were practically gifted double lift kills to the point where it could solo carry. These are things that they could probably improve a bit, but won't fully fix with such a short time. And with the extra pressure, plus a team that punishes mistakes super hard, like Kingzone, the mentals of the Flash Wolves rookies are going to be tested pretty hard. and they could already show they were a bit shaky, as when they started losing hard. Finally, the leaders coming out of the MSI group stage is Royal Never Give Up. And with Uzi playing out of his mind good in pretty much every game, with exception to the second Liquid game, he is arguably the best player in the world, or at least the very best performing player at the moment. Their greatest weakness is sort of a stupid thing to say with Uzi and Ming playing so well, but if their bot lane gets shut down, which doesn't happen often, they lack a real secondary carry. There's no disrespect to Xiaohu at all, but other than a couple of standout Zoe games, he's been playing mainly enablers like Karma and Malzahar. His rise was a bit up and down, with the Fnatic game getting solo killed by Caps, or the other Fnatic game where he split push, opened up the inhib, and really spread Fnatic apart, and they used that to their advantage. But if he can step up his game to the level we've seen him play at this split in China, it adds that extra dimension to RNG as a team. So attacking their bot lane is the way to stop RNG, but that's easier said than done. If they can ban champions like Gangplank, Shen, Taliyah, maybe Aurelion Sol, or pick them up for themselves, it makes attacking that bot lane so much harder, and makes facing RNG so much harder.